Alright, here's what's going on. The book is calling for tightening this nut to 25 foot-pounds, and the torque wrench that I have starts at 50. I have a little pull scale here, and they're looking for half to 3/4 pound of pull at the steering wheel in a straight line of drag. Now it also says that you should put a new nut on, and the reason for that is obviously your stake mark may come up in the same exact spot. Mine did not. But what I've noticed is that because I'm using a used nut, there's a little bit of drag on that damaged area there, and I don't have a torque wrench that goes in very small increments, so it's very hard to detect when I was getting to 25 foot-pounds. So basically what I've done, I ran the nut up to where it was staked previously, and then I did a rolling torque, and it was like nothing. There was no load on it whatsoever, and I just gradually tightened the nut a little bit at a time until on my spring scale, with a steady pull, I was getting it to move somewhere between around halfway between the 0 and the 1. And I played with that several times, and I feel pretty confident that I'm right where I need to be on this. There's no real drag. You can't really feel much, but the steering wheel will stop when you let go. There's just a little bit of drag on it. Now if I backed it off all the way to where the old stake mark was, there's almost no resistance whatsoever, and I think that's a little light. So you know, at the factory that system probably works great. Everything's brand new, they got to do it quickly, and it probably gets them right in the ballpark where they need to be at the factory. Now we're using a used spring washer. I don't know where you'd find a new one. You might be able to find a new one. You might be able to find a new stake nut also, because a lot of the industry uses that type of a system. But I'm using the old stuff. The spring washer still had a real nice arc in it. And like I say, this steering unit worked really good, except it had a lot of leaks. So this is where I'm going to go with that. And time will tell if I got it too tight or too loose. But I feel pretty confident. I've done this. I went back and forth several tries, and I tried several locations. And with the spring scale, right where it is now is where I keep falling into the about a half-pound range. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. So we'll move on now, and I'll probably check it one more time, and I will stake that nut. I actually found a more accurate spring scale. This one's in ounces, and it starts 0, of course, and it goes to 4 up to 8. That would be half a pound. 8 and 8, 16. Okay. So basically, I'm looking between 4 and 8, or not quite 8. I want to get below 8, like 4 and 6, and that seems to be what I've got here. It just gives me a little bit more accuracy on that pole. So yep, I'm moving right along at 6, and that would be pretty close to where I went at 4 and 6. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, one of the mistakes that I made when I was ordering seals, this dust seal here was in the top of this steering shaft here, and I mistook it for another one. But this seal here is just kind of a dust seal that goes, I can't get the spring off here. Oh, there we go. It just kind of seals the end of that tube. Okay. And there's really no reason for me to take that thing out. And I didn't damage it, so I can put it back in. But I did order a regular lip seal, but this is like a rope seal with grease on it. That's all it's needed for that in there. So I'm going to put that back in. I'm not going to put in the lip seal that I ordered because didn't have the column lane here when I was ordering seals, and I wasn't paying attention, and I thought it was for the shaft seal. So that's a little bit confusing there, but we won't have to worry about that seal. Alright, I'm getting ready to install the bottom pitman arm shaft seal. I guess that's what you call it. I got a couple of seals here. Now what I did was, the first time around I got in a big hurry. I was making great progress and I didn't have the proper seal driver, and I tried using a socket and I ended up ruining the seal. So that was the end of that day. So I ordered some more seals. I got the proper setup here to put those seals in. So I'm going to go ahead and drive that in. Try to get it as straight as possible here. There we go. Okay, now, as you can see, there's plenty of room for a second seal in there, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put another seal in with a gap in between, and what that's basically going to do is to keep the shaft from getting rusty right next to this inner seal, and it'll prevent it from tearing up that seal. The original seal was much thicker, so basically I got room to put two in, so that's what I'm going to do. But I'm only going to put this one flush, and so I actually have two seals installed there. We're going to go ahead and put this one in. Actually, I think I'm going to go a little bit farther. There we go. We got two seals in there, and I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm going to go ahead with that, and we'll get that lubed up and we'll get that shaft installed. Alright, I've got the seals installed, and I've got my shaft here. Now they call for a protector to go over them splines and stuff. Well, I don't have one, so I'm going to have to be super careful when I slide that in there. The only other thing, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's you got to get that centered, lined right up with the center of that bushing, and that's where you got to put that in there. So that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, I've packed some white lithium grease on the bushing and seals and between the seals there, so it should be well lubed. I got my shaft lubed, and we're going to go ahead and try to insert that shaft right now. I'm just going to have to make darn sure that I'm really careful with it. There, got it in. No problems. And I didn't damage the seal. And that is the goal. Okay, I got the shaft in. There's your adjusting bolt and your little, it's like a select fit washer. And it's got to be pretty tight. So you want to get that in there. Actually, the instructions tell you to put this whole end cap on before you slide it in, and I have a feeling that they are correct on that, because it's going to be very difficult to get that thing threaded in there, but I'm going to try it. I'm a little concerned about getting my seal lined up, so I'm going to try this. And I got my gasket on there and I got my bushing lubricated. And this may not work, so I figured I might give it a try. And yes, it does work, so you don't necessarily have to do it the way the book shows it. I'm going to pull that all the way back. Get my gasket there. Now these bolts go all the way through, so it's probably going to be a good idea to put some sealer on those. And I'm going to go ahead and use some blue Loctite, which is a removable type, which will not only keep them tight, it will also seal the threads for any oil to come out. And everything is clean and dry. Okay. We'll get some on this one. Get all those in there. We'll get those tightened up. And that's going to be just about it. Okay. Okay. That's the adjustment of your shaft there. Okay. Next, forgot to cut the gasket out for that hole there in the end cap. So I'm going to have to very carefully do that and hope it doesn't fall inside. Of course I can get it out through this side if it does, but yeah, I caught that right after I got them tight. Made that gasket 2 or 3 weeks ago and didn't finish the job, so gotta be careful.